Hey ladies, this week I've got week 2 of the functional nutrition Q&A, or Ask Christy as I was calling it. So my next question comes from Kristen. I want to read it so I didn't mess up her thoughts. So she says, I've been seeing a urologist because I've been having frequency in urination and pelvic discomfort. No one has diagnosed me with interstitial cystitis, but the urologist has me following an IC diet, which has been challenging to say the least. Before this flared up, I often felt super bloated, gassy, constipated, inflamed in my entire pelvic region around ovulation time. I want to make sure I'm getting/eating good foods for all my nutritional needs while avoiding bladder irritants and keeping my bowels regular, as this seems to irritate my bladder as well. So this is a fantastic question, okay? So just off the bat, the IC or interstitial cystitis, that is a mouthful to say first and foremost, but that condition of the bladder, the dietary protocol for that can be extremely restrictive, and if you check 10 different websites, they might have 10 different answers as to what you should do. So again, like, this could be helpful with symptoms and very overwhelming at the same time, and also, like you said, you were concerned about cause nutritional deficiencies. So a functional nutrition approach, I would take this in a much more well-rounded way. So taking all different aspects of what could be going on into account, and not just, pulling out a million foods to try to minimize your symptoms. So a couple things. So first, in terms of food, let's start with that. So eating the widest variety of food at all times is optimal for optimal health. We want to be eating a wide variety of colors, fruits and vegetables, to make sure you're getting all your micronutrients, your polyphenols, getting enough protein, all of those things. So I personally wouldn't recommend following a super restrictive IC type diet. I would say yes to avoid the major irritants of the bladder. You will learn what some of your irritants are more so than anybody else will, but things like coffee or tea, alcohol, and citrus drinks like orange juice, things like that. So those are kind of your major players in terms of like irritants for the bladder. So I would pull those out. But even as like symptoms start to minimize, you could have a little bit here and there. It's kind of like a bucket almost sometimes in terms of controlling your symptoms. So play around with which things are more irritant or irritable for you, but keep those major ones out for the majority, because things, like coffee, tea, alcohol, where it is not going to affect your nutritional status, okay? But another thing that I would bring in, that I would give a try, that's a little bit of out the box thinking. I would try doing an elimination diet of gluten specifically. So just eliminating gluten for 4 weeks consistently, and just seeing how you feel. So interstitial cystitis does have, or is thought to have, yes, definitely an inflammatory component to it, but also an autoimmune component. And there's a huge connection nowadays with research showing autoimmunity having, people who are struggling with autoimmune really having an intolerance to gluten. Now, this is not like a celiacs, like you can get a test and it's going to prove that you have this, and there's really no specific test for it. 5 years from now, we should have this test, I hope. But there's something called a non-celiac gluten sensitivity that we're finding a connection with a lot of autoimmune conditions. And it's one of the cheapest and can be one of the most effective things that people can do for certain symptoms. So in my opinion, it's worth a shot. So just try pulling gluten out strictly. So obviously it's not forever, but just see how you feel, but completely pull it out for 4 weeks and see how you feel. If you feel a little better, I'd say stretch it to 6, and see if you really feel much better. If after 4 weeks you feel no different, then on to the next thing. But that would be my advice in terms of food. Okay, so wide variety, but avoid the major irritants and try restricting the gluten for 4 weeks, possibly 6. In terms of supplements that can be beneficial, so taking in a therapeutic dose of fish oil or omega-3s, super anti-inflammatory. So again, we talked about this condition being an inflammatory condition of the bladder. So taking these anti-inflammatory omega-3s as a supplement can be very beneficial. Also, there's a huge tie to histamine intolerance and the bladder irritation. A lot of people who avoid very high histamine foods as one of their major triggers, or take some natural herbs that can reduce histamine in the body, so something like quercetin. So there's many natural histamine supplements that could be beneficial to decrease the histamine in the body that also might help with symptoms. And lastly, there are targeted strains of probiotics that are specifically geared for vaginal and bladder health in females. There's actually a new product out there right now that is highly researched that I just started using with a few of my clients, and it seems to be going really well. So like you're gonna have your wide variety. There's billions and billions of different type of bacteria, but they're finding huge connections with specific types, and supplementing with those in probiotic form, in supplement form, has been very beneficial for minimizing vaginal and bladder symptoms. So that would be something you could look into as well. And the next thing would be lifestyle factors. So I would recommend looking into pelvic floor physical therapy if you haven't already done that. A lot of your pain seems to be combined with your hormonal shifts, as well as the bladder inflammation, and maybe some GI dysfunction. So I think working with a pelvic floor therapist, and make sure physically everything is going okay in there. It's a super specialty. There are some really great ladies out there who can be really beneficial. So I'd look into pelvic floor PT, as well as acupuncture. Acupuncture targeted specifically for bladder inflammation, just inflammation in your stomach area in general, for things like IBS or constipation and whatnot. Acupuncture can be amazing. And a lot of insurance, depending on your plan, a lot of the places will take your insurance and you can actually utilize that. So that would be another recommendation. And in terms of any other testing and whatnot, based on some of the symptoms that you're having, and the issues with the bathroom maybe, and gas and bloating and stuff, you could benefit from a comprehensive stool analysis to really see what you have going on in your microbiome. You might have an overgrowth of some sort. You could have a pathogen. You could have, heck, who knows? You could have a parasite. I have actually had that come up with somebody recently on their stool assessment, and we're treating it and they're feeling much, much better. So it could be a lot of things. So investing in a stool assessment can be very beneficial to rebalancing the microbiome, to control the inflammation and control that pain. Okay, so I hope this was super helpful. A little bit more of a roundabout, like a comprehensive approach in terms of the IC and your pain. I hope it helps, and reach out if you have any questions. And don't forget, guys, if this sounds like something you might need, if we need to have a chat and talk about what you have going on, any symptoms, struggles with your doctor, you're looking for a comprehensive plan to really get to the root cause of what's going on in your body so that you can feel better, you can head to the support page in the Balance app and click the one-on-one functional nutrition services. And I do offer a 15-minute complimentary consultation. You and I can just talk about what you have going on and see if functional nutrition might be a good option for you, and free of charge. Just you and I, no commitments or anything like that, but we can chat about what you have going on and see if it might be a good fit. All right, everybody, so this was week 2. I've got a few more questions over the next couple of weeks, and I hope this has been helpful for everybody. Have a good day. Bye.